Welcome to the Family Photography Marketing Podcast, where we dive into the world of marketing and help you take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Fiona, a marketing expert with 10 years of experience in the family photography industry, and in each episode of this podcast, I'll be sharing my insights and strategies for successful marketing to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of digital and traditional marketing techniques. So whether you're just starting out or looking to fine-tune your marketing approach, this podcast has something for you. So join me and let's get started. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I know I've been a little MIA. I apologize. I've just been working on a lot of stuff, but I'm back now, and we are going to be chatting about, in this episode, just a mid-spring season marketing check-in. We are going to be talking about a few general marketing updates, like what is even going on in the world of marketing, and then also a few ways that you can reduce your marketing stress. So in terms of a mid-season marketing check-in, some things to know that we're about halfway through spring right now. And I talked about this on my little broadcast channel, which is a really good way for me to get quick thoughts out. And then sometimes I can ask for reactions or polls from people to see what people are struggling with. And the thing about spring and being in the middle of it is that right now, the main issue people are feeling is the crunch of not having the content they need to book the thing that they're talking about. And guess who is right there with you? Me. So I have my studio that is in my hometown. My hometown is fairly small. It's kind of isolated because it's an island. I actually, for the majority of my career, haven't worked a ton on my island. I work in the bigger town that's nearby. So when I got the studio, and this is so common for like all humans, you have an idea, you put work in to make it real, and you think that everyone is going to know about it. And like, of course, that's where the marketing piece comes in, right? So generally booking things in the studio has been slow. I spent the first year trying to figure out what the hell I was doing in there. I realized that it's really hard to have kids in there because it's kind of a small space, and for whatever reason, I mean, I love to see the joy on their faces, but they run full speed around and it's very hard to contain. I'm talking kids who like older than 1. It's very hard to contain them in the pretty light corner. So I kind of feel like I need like a herding dog or something in there who can like go capture the children who are looking in the mini fridge and like bring them back to the pretty light area, or capture the children who are like playing on my chairs and obviously I'm used to working with kids and I don't care at all about that sort of behavior, but it makes the sessions difficult in a way that is not conducive to how I like to create. So all of these things are kind of this learning curve. So two things are happening at once. I'm defining my artistry, and I'm frustrated that people aren't picking up on what my artistry is, which is like so ridiculous, but it's still a human expectation. So now that I'm defining more what I want the studio to be, the thing that is the hardest every time is patience. And I wish it was easier. Like I wish things could just flip over quicker. And I honestly, the little bit of an ego thing, I was like, okay, well, when I open the studio, it'll be okay because I, have photographed so many people and I have been in business for so long and I have a really good track record, all of these things. But indoor studio work is such a different beast than sunset adventure work. I mean, those are like completely two different products if you want to think of them that way. So the patience piece is difficult and you may be right there with me. So I just re-signed my 2-year lease for the studio. I just signed another lease, which was terrifying because I've never had a business that has a fixed expense. I've always had a really, really low overhead, which I loved for 13 years. But as I think about where I want to be in the next 10 years, I'm happy and I know in my heart that investing in this space that I can make my own, that is literally 2 miles from my house, is the right move. But that doesn't mean that it's not emotional and hard and frustrating at times. So let me tell you where I am with it right now. I have certain shoots that are just like I'm doing headshots in there, which I love, super simple, fun, seniors. And then the kiddo piece has been more difficult because I want to do babies under 1. So because my silly island has become so high cost of living, my husband and I literally snuck on here during the last recession. there's actually not a lot of babies who can even afford to live here. And my mom was a pediatrician for years here, and she noticed the same thing, that so many babies that came to her pediatrician office or come to my studio come from the greater area. So not only am I trying to market this new thing that's completely different than what I've done, I'm trying to draw people in who actually have to travel to it. So there's a lot of factors at play, right? But the issue I'm running into now, so one of the things I wanted to try was hiring a florist and have them literally make like an indoor wildflower wonderland. That's what I decided to call it. I've been playing with different things. Like I use Facebook ads to do like A/B tests to see what people connect with. So first I did spring florals in the studio. But the thing that has connected way more is switching the name just of this particular studio event to Wildflower Wonderland. And then I took photos of flowers in the studio and I kind of made this little promo piece. And then I had 5 micro model calls of moms with babies. And I just got bouquets of flowers from the local grocery store, just trying to give off the vibe of what I'm trying to get at, because I don't have any pictures of this floral installation, which is actually going in today. So the trust isn't there. And that's the piece that as the marketing educator, I know, but as the human still hurts my heart a little bit, because I'm like, no, just trust me. You don't know what you're getting into, but it'll be great. And like, even me, if someone was like, oh yeah, I'm having a florist come in and they're going to create like a really pretty studio installation. And I'd be like, cool, what does it look like? And they're like, I don't know. Like, am I going to invest, So I know how I've tried to switch my mindset to protect my heart, which is something that I constantly do in marketing. And to say that someone is out there marketing robotically when the thing they're marketing is literally their art, they're lying. It is difficult. That doesn't mean it's not possible though. So because these haven't booked out as well as I'd hoped, I'm switching my mindset. My mindset could have been, there was like an alternate universe where the economy wasn't poop and all the other factors were in play and it worked out and I booked all these out, and then my mindset would have stayed with the sessions themselves and the marketing benefit would be the afterthought. But instead, I'm going to switch it. So the marketing benefit is that once these sessions are done and I have content of these flowers, it will be infinitely more simple to do something like this in the future. So I know that my job as the marketer here is to get a ton of behind the scenes content, is to really showcase the emotion, to try to get, I'm running them all the way through this weekend. So the goal is like get as many edited and up and out as quickly as possible, so that maybe people who are like on the fence, kind of peeking over the fence, seeing what the hell this Wildflower Wonderland even is, how do I incentivize those people to snag a spot? So that is just an example. I always try to bring people into the mindset of what it feels like to actually be marketing something, because there's emotions roiling around all around. Like I could pick and choose any one of them and decide to feel 1,000 different ways, right? And I keep seeing these, this is like my pet peeve of this industry right now. These photographers came in around the same time that I did, but immediately started doing education and built up a huge following through education, but haven't had to rely on actual bookings to meet their income goal because they've been doing education. And the things they are telling other photographers about marketing are just so wrong and sometimes hurtful. And I think digging into those emotions. So like, well, you just have to act more outgoing in your stories, and you just have to be better at talking to the camera, and you just need to keep posting. And it's like those things worked for these people back in the day, but they're no longer the ones to educate about it because it's not what's going on anymore. So when I see that, it's tough because I see people saying, oh my gosh, it's me. It's I'm not likable enough. I'm not cool enough. And that's not what it's about. We are now in the era of strategy because it's not easy pickings out there. It's like used to be an orchard full of apples and you could just go and pick one. And now it's like you have to actually, it's like the Sandlot where they're trying to get the ball from the huge dog and they have to build the erector set. That is what marketing is like now, as opposed to that baseball just being out on the field and they could walk out and get it. You're now going up in the treehouse, building an erector set, lots of people are helping you. You're going through a lot of emotions. That is literally what it feels like. So if you see that messaging from these educators who haven't really been in the thick of this, then just be very cautious with your heart. The other thing I'll tell you is educating or marketing as an educator is so different than marketing as a local business. When I'm marketing for my education, I can talk to people in a whole different way. I can build out little funnels. I can give away freebies. I have a lot more tools in the tool belt when it comes to marketing that way. And local business marketing is a whole different beast. So just be really careful about the advice that you let come into your brain, because it may just be advice from someone who honestly, and maybe no fault of their own, just really doesn't know what the landscape honestly looks like right now. What else is on my marketing mindset right now? I'll say marketing mindset is a good way to put it, is that once I get through these florals, then I'm back to pushing some of my outdoor stuff that hasn't booked yet. So I've gotten myself, sometimes when I feel overwhelmed with marketing myself, I'll go back to patterns, which that has always been really, really helpful for me. So I think of my Instagram as like my foundational marketing platform, where maybe you could think that like my marketing content is born. And then I take it from there and put it all around other places, my blog, Pinterest, wherever, a newsletter, wherever it's going. So creating a habit on Instagram has been really helpful. What that habit looks like right now, and you can check it, you can kind of see it in action. If you go onto my Instagram, it kind of looks like, if you're looking at the feed, there's some education stuff, and then I do my little carousel and then a reel. So I'm trying to stick to that little habit, because it takes the decision making away from myself. I'm not then wondering what I'm trying to post, because I just follow my pattern. And that's something that we talk about in the mastermind, which, by the way, the mastermind is open for a third round, and there's like 3 spots left, and I'm really excited for it. You know, when I first started it, I wasn't sure exactly what the process was going to be. And now for the third round, I feel like we have a really concrete 5-step process for marketing, and me being able to help people through has been really helpful. So if you want in on that, I'll put a link in the show notes. But speaking about this marketing mindset and how you can help yourself beyond focusing on a habit that's just like, okay, I have a habit or a pattern. So it could be like every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to do this, or you have a pattern where if you've done a carousel on Instagram and then, you don't want that work to stay just on Instagram. So you did a carousel on Instagram, which became a blog post which went to Pinterest, which maybe made it into your email newsletter. That's an example of one content, flowing out from Instagram. The next one could be, then you could even do pillars. Like I'm going to do an educational post, how to prepare for spring sessions, what to wear, anything someone might need to know, an inspirational post, which is just like your favorite sessions, most beautiful locations, something about you as the artist. That could be like an example of a pattern that you could follow for a while that'll give your brain a little bit of a break from wondering and staying in overwhelm, which is often where we can stay. So I found this psychological study about stress, and there's in this study, there's 6 habits that can increase your stress. And these habits are, so much of stress in marketing comes from what you're doing or not doing. So I found this really helpful. So the first one is that you take too long to make decisions. And I think this is so true. So I often say overwhelm is a choice, which can feel very rude maybe, but it's not meant to be rude. It's just this truth that has hit me over and over and over again as I think about how I'm going to fill my photography calendar. If I just sit there and think about it endlessly, I don't take any action. 2 is that you're focusing on things you can't control. So within marketing, there's approximately 1,000 million things that you cannot control. You can't control the algorithm. You can't control the news cycle. You can't control people's emotions. There's so many things you can't control. But if you're constantly focusing on those things, you'll only see everything you're doing as a failure. So you don't want to be like, I am a victim of my marketing, because that's like the worst place to be. Instead, you want to be like, I'm putting out marketing and testing to get data. And I'm not emotional about that data because all I'm trying to do is see what's working and what's not. Is that a lot harder to do than just to say? Yes, but it is. Focusing on what you cannot control is causing you stress. You multitask. This one, I know when I said that word, a few of you could picture yourself the last time you tried to market or come up with a marketing idea or whatever, and you ended up doing 5 other things at the same time. Giving yourself space to do marketing is so important. And it doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours of space and time. It can be 45 minutes of concentrated work that you give your brain the space and time and freedom to get into that amazing creator mode that you need to be in. If you're multitasking, you shut that down and you take that space away from your brain. The fourth one is you don't plan your days. So I'm not a super scheduled person. Like right now, I'm doing this podcast episode. I said to myself, I'm going to do it when I have 30 minutes in my day to do it. Some days I'm a lot more scheduled than others, but I do generally have an overall plan of my day. So when you don't plan, you just have more procrastination and less focus. So even if it's a rough plan to your day, having a plan can help you feel less stressed. Okay, the fifth is that you don't move your body. And I have noticed that when I have gone on a walk in the morning, I have about 20 more minutes of focused work in me than I do on the days that I don't. And same thing if I have gone to the gym the night before, the next morning, my mornings are way more productive. So I have noticed that there is a direct correlation between moving, being outside, going for a walk, and the ability to create more space and time to work on these things. 6 is that you procrastinate. So I think in one of the previous episodes, I can't remember what one it was, we talked about procrastination and how hard it is because I'm a procrastinator and I do work well at the last minute. If there's too much time in front of me, I just don't feel motivated. So I figured out a system to kind of make my procrastination motivate me because I'll set a time. So that's the key there, is that my procrastination has an end date or an implosion date. So if I say like by Thursday, I want to have done, I may do all those things Wednesday because I'm a procrastinator, but I'm going to actually do them because I have high trust in myself and what I say I'm going to do. So you can partner those two things together and still meet your goals or get the things done that you need to do while still being a procrastinator. The trick is you actually need to take action. So you need something within your procrastination that pushes you into action. And if that's a timeline, if that's a deadline, you have to actually stick to it and do the thing. And if you don't want to procrastinate as much anymore, you can just use that focused time that you give yourself to do just 1 or 2 things on your list. Just force yourself to do it until it becomes a habit. And even though it feels a little bit stressful at the time, you will feel the relief of doing those things, which will then eliminate a little bit of your stress. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is kind of an AI SEO search update. And I see this confusion happening. So we've noticed that Instagram has turned into a weird AI search machine, which they've been telling us all along that they're going to do by telling everyone to focus on keywords and that search is really important. And it feels very, to me, it sort of feels very temporary how it looks right now, how it says, at the top, it's like, do you want to learn how to fly fish? Like, no, if I did, I'm surely not asking Instagram. So part of it feels like Instagram doesn't even know what it's doing anymore, but it's still important to get the most out of that app as possible because it's free marketing. And like I said, it's also just a really good place to have the foundation of marketing start and then take those things that you create and put them elsewhere. So focus on keywords. You can even now use it to create pictures and do all this stuff. I would just ignore all of that and focus on your same good, timely content. Only post about what you're trying to book in the next 3 weeks to 3 months. Have it be helpful, have it be relevant, and use keywords. When it comes to Google, something that people have kind of missed is they're like, oh, now I can rank really well for my keywords, because what I'll do is just have like ChatGPT write me 27 blog posts and I'll flood the market. But what people aren't realizing is that Google has very, very good AI detection tools. And if they detect that you are using AI in your content creation, they will push yours down. But they want you to utilize their AI. So when we talk about Google, and there's this idea of like Google is now hand in hand with AI, so we should use AI as creators, that's kind of the missing thing. They're using AI to find the most relevant websites to pull back for keywords, but they don't want those search results to be filled with AI or AI written content, and they have very sophisticated tools to identify that AI written content. So that's why I always say if you're going to use AI to write blog posts, literally use it only as an outline and the rest be your words and your stories personal to your sessions, your business, what's going on with your clients. So you want it to be very specified. And I've noticed that my blog, since this switch, my website has shot up to the top. And I think that's because I've been blogging a lot and it's all very personal and story driven and to the point of exactly what my client may be struggling with. So that's just sort of a really important mindset switch to know, that it's not like Google loves your AI content. That is not what is going on. Google wants you to use AI, and it wants to pull up results that don't have AI but are organically written for that search result, because they want the most clear pathway for someone to find exactly what they're looking for. And this is constantly evolving, right? If what Google thinks is going to be most helpful is you search and it just gives you kind of like one answer at the top. When people are looking for a lasagna recipe, that may make sense. When they're looking for photographers, it's not necessarily going to make sense. So that's why blogging consistently in a really helpful storytelling manner that keeps people on that blog post for as long as possible, that's your goal. If you want to think about how you're blogging in any specific way, it would be that your client who you'd love to work with has arrived on your blog. Write a blog post for them. Write a blog post for them that they would like to read. End of the story. Don't overthink any more beyond that. I mean, you could do my sort of method where I have the images and then I have the link to book at the bottom of every single blog post. So if it's a newborn session, I have embedded the Acuity booking link right to newborn sessions, so they get everything they need right in that blog post, which I do think helps keep people on that blog post a little bit longer. So that's how you want to think about it. You don't need to be like, oh, I need to start writing 10 blog posts a week with AI, because Google will punish you. So that is just something that I've noticed is a bit of a confusion as we move into this new world of search and AI. Okay, so a few updates with me. I still have the website course is available. I'll link it. People have been loving it. It's been really helpful. Sort of like an easier, more succinct way to think about designing your website in a client-friendly manner that can help your website essentially become your salesperson as you're out doing all the other things that you have to do to run this business. And then, like I said, the marketing mastermind is open. We start May 7th. So if you have questions, feel free to DM me. If you want to chat about it and run your scenario of what's going on with your business by me to see if I think it would be a good fit, you can always reach me on Instagram and send me a voice memo or a DM, whatever you need to do. I'm happy to talk to you about it. Okay, I promise that I will be back next week. I have the episode written out and I've made a promise to myself that I will, and I won't break it. So I will see you guys next week, and I hope you enjoy some sun wherever you're at.